You're doing it wrong! Let's get to it. Is there a right way and a wrong way to backpack? No, there's not a right way and a wrong way to backpack. There's only the experience that you gain on trail that teaches you more lessons about how to backpack more efficiently or to the way that you backpack personally. Today in this video, I'm gonna be talking about 5 mistakes that beginner backpackers make. Number 1, the first mistake that beginner backpackers make is they allow gear to outweigh experience. Pun intended. But really, we get so obsessed as beginner backpackers, as whatever kind of backpacker you are, you get obsessed with weight. And whether it's consciously or subconsciously, you can't tell me that when you go on to backcountry.com or REI or wherever you buy your gear, Amazon, whatever it is, that you don't look at the weight. Because you don't want to get a tent in the mail that you thought was a 2-person, 2-pound tent, and it gets there and it's 12 pounds. Who wants to carry a 12-pound tent? So the point I want to make is that it's important to know the weight of your gear, but not let that define your trip or define you as a backpacker. Obviously, it's a good thing to think about weight, not only personally, but on your back. It's hard to argue that if you loaded up a truck with a trailer, loaded with 4-wheelers, you put all your gear in the back of the truck, that truck is gonna have less stress on it than a truck with 1 passenger, no trailer, no truck. You can't say that that's not true. The more weight you have, the bigger of a toll it's gonna take on your body, but the same principle is with backpacking. The more weight on your back, the harder it is on your body, and that's just a fact. A lot of us can argue points and everything, and some people like to hate on ultralight backpackers or thru-hikers because all they care about is base weight. But again, it is important, but don't allow it to outweigh your experience on trail. Allowing yourself to take what you have and get on trail and formulate your own opinions and come up with your own experiences that help define or help you understand what type of backpacker you are. Personally, I started out with an Army surplus backpack, a 10-pound sleeping bag, a 47-pound tent, and I loved it. I would hit the UNAs with my friends, my scout troop, whatever it was, and we had a great time. We weren't hiking 20-mile days, but we were having fun, and that's what's most important. Don't let the weight of your gear prevent you from gaining the experience. Number 2. Hygiene. When I started out backpacking, I was so concerned about smelling on trail, and I was so worried about my personal hygiene. Bringing extra clothes, full-size deodorant, big tube of toothpaste, just a toothbrush. I'm not saying cut your toothbrush in half, but just giving you the list. All of the things that you would use on a daily basis to get ready. And I was thinking, okay, I'll put that in a Ziploc bag and I'll bring it with me. And I'll bring my extra clothes so that when the older ones stink, I'll change into new ones, put those others in a Ziploc so I can't smell them. And I started to realize as I got out on trail more, I wasn't even using those clothes. And I started to learn what clothing items I chose to bring as backups. So for example, now I will always bring an extra pair of socks and extra pair of underwear, regardless of the trip that I'm going on. This is because these are the 2 spots that are gonna get the smelliest, that are gonna get the stinkiest, and I just feel like those are 2 good things to bring. So I always bring socks and a backup pair of underwear. Now, some of you are not going to like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You are going to reek on trail. Just get over it. It's gonna happen. Embrace it and just love it, because that's part of the experience. Just smell. Odds are the rest of your group's gonna smell too, so don't be so self-conscious about your smell that you're gonna pack an extra 5 or 6 pounds in clothing and extra hygiene stuff that you're just putting extra weight on your body. You're gonna sweat more and you're just gonna stink. I digress. Don't allow your fears of smelling to allow you to get obsessed with what you're bringing in your pack. Just for an example, rather than bringing a full-size deodorant, if you're looking into still getting those small hygiene amenities you have at home on trail, they make lots of travel-sized stuff. For example, this is a small tube of deodorant. I can bring this on trail with me. I can put deodorant on each day. I can use a wet wipe or something to clean up a little bit and reapply this every day. They make sunscreen sticks like this. Z-Packs makes a nice little toothbrush and toothpaste kit that's teeny tiny. Look into some travel toiletries if you're looking to still bring everything that you use each day. So if you take away one thing from this tip, don't be afraid to smell. I had to come in the tent so that everyone else doesn't hear this next mistake, because it might bite me in the rear end. Number 3, beginner backpacking mistake is too much time on YouTube and not enough time on trail. When I started out backpacking, I was a teenager and YouTube wasn't like huge with backpacking. I don't even remember searching any backpacking. I just kind of went to my local camping store, got what was there, and that was great. But as I got older and all of the technology started changing, like in this tent, it was so useful to have YouTube as a resource. But what I found happening is the more time I spent on YouTube, the more I felt stressed and confused about gear. Because there are so many options, so many opinions, and so many content creators that I just felt overwhelmed. And what I want you to know is that YouTube is not a bad thing, and it's an awesome place to learn and share our experiences, our opinions, and reviews. But I also want you to know the importance of turning off the phone, hitting the pause button, and hitting the trail. Even if it's a day hike and you're carrying your gear with you just to get a feel for it, set it up when you're in the mountains on a hike or in the desert on a hike, whatever, and you put it back down, you put it on your pack and hike out. That little bit of experience is going to be more valuable to you than it is sitting and watching me at home. Now, I need the view time, so please don't click off the video. No, but seriously, YouTube's great. Don't let it make you obsessed and crazy about gear and second guessing yourself, and every ounce is gonna drive you crazy, and every piece of gear and every feature and every blah. Check out this dyneema. This leads us to our next problem. Number 4 is comparing ourselves to other backpackers. Don't do this. If you take anything from this tip, just don't do it. Please don't compare yourself to me or the gear that I have or the gear that Dan or Darwin. I love those guys and I love their channels, but don't compare yourself to anybody else other than yourself. The reason that I say this is because, just like the last tip, you're gonna drive yourself crazy and you're gonna lose your backpacking identity in the mix. I'm not saying that you have to identify yourself as a certain type of backpacker, but you just get lost in trying to figure out like what gear works for you, or what kind of trails, or what kind of hikes, or how many miles you're hiking. That's another huge one that I have struggled with personally. My trips tend to be around 5 to 8 miles on like as an average. And I used to feel bad about that because I'd watch all these videos of thru-hikers and section hikers that are doing that in half a day. And I was like, so am I not a backpacker, or am I not good enough, or like what? And I just felt like I got to the point where I was like, screw this. I am who I am. I hike my own hike. But whatever, you know what I'm saying. So don't allow the influence and opinions of others to change what you believe or to change what you feel is best for you. Number 5, beginner backpacking mistake is not using proper footwear. And this is not to imply that there's, again, a right or a wrong, or boots or trail runners or chacos or tevas or whatever you use. Personally, through experience, hiking in the high Uintas, I took a nice brand new pair of boots out and blistered the heck out of my feet. It turned out to be a miserable trip, and I definitely didn't want to remember it. Now, I do think that technology has come a long way in the last 5 to 10 years with hiking shoes and hiking boots. And breaking them in is not always necessary anymore, but it's just something to think about. Like, try the shoe on at REI, take it home, wear it around home, and if it's still hurting and it's not feeling right after a few weeks or something like that, take it back and try something different. Personally, what I would say is take what you already have. If you're a beginner backpacker, odds are you're not going into a terrain where there's going to be 5 feet of snow and you need snowshoes and boots and all of that kind of gear. When I go hiking in the snow right now, I've been wearing a pair of Nikes and Yak Tracks. I don't have a $200 boot. I have a $50 pair of tennis shoes, and it works fine for me because I know the shoe's comfortable and I know it fits right. The other thing that I do is when it's warm weather, I wear sandals. My feet get filthy, but sandals are more comfortable for me. Find what works for you and use it. Again, we could like smash all of these beginner mistakes into just a few simple principles. Don't compare yourself to others, and gain your own opinions through your own experience. Those are 2 things that we could lump all of these mistakes into, and if we could just avoid those things, we'd be great. But something else I want to reiterate is making mistakes does not mean you're doing it wrong or that you shouldn't be doing it. Making mistakes and failing is how we grow. So If you take one simple principle from this video today, find out what works for you and what doesn't through your own experience. The comments below, let me know if you have a beginner mistake or if you have another one that you'd like to see in an upcoming beginner backpacking mistakes video. I'd love to hear your experiences. If you just checked out my last video, I made a big mistake and I got a fish hook in my eye. We had to hike out at night and it was crazy. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up in the card so you can check it out. It's actually kind of crazy. I put in the end of the video how they removed the hook from my eye. It's kind of a cool video, so you can check it out. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was entertaining for you. Thumbs up if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, let me know. Also subscribe to the channel because I'm making new content all the time and I'd hate for you to miss a single video. Yeah, and I think that's everything. Oh, backpackers, thanks for stopping by.